right, everybody, welcome to another day of math magic with Jen. I don't know if it's magical or not, but I like to pretend it is. We're going to work today on second grade addition and subtraction, and I'm going to show you how that's going to work with base 10 blocks. So let's go ahead and get started. So what makes this addition and subtraction a little bit harder is that we've got two digits. So we're dealing with ones and tens place value. We also have the idea of what happens if you have too many ones or too few ones. So it depends on the perspective. So over here, if we just take a second to look at these addition problems. So this first one, again, we'd want students to realize these are the tens, these are the ones, and I'm going to start with that ones column. I have 2, and I'm adding 1 more, so that's 3. And for the tens, I have 5. I'm going to add 3 more, so that's 8. So this ends up just being the number 83. Seems easy until you get a problem like this one, where I add the ones and I end up with 15 ones. And of course, you and I both know that the students are going to end up writing a 5 and carrying a 1. How are they going to understand that? Like, we just tell them to do it? Or are they going to have that realization of this is why I do? Okay, so I'm going to help you develop that concept of why. Okay, and how we're going to do it is with base 10 blocks. Similarly, when we get to subtraction, I'm going to show you the idea of borrowing and why it occurs. Okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and jump off that bridge and try adding with base 10 blocks. By the way, just some vocabulary check. So the old school way of adding, which they still teach, is called the standard algorithm. These other methods of base 10 blocks, and in another video, I'm going to show you empty number lines, are to help students have that aha moment of why the standard algorithm. All right, so let's go ahead and try it. So how do you add with base 10 blocks? Well, first we got to remember what base 10 blocks are. So I've got a picture of a rod. Here's what a rod looks like. And then a unit, and it is small, but there it is, okay? So the idea here is that you'd have hopefully a set of base 10 blocks that students could play with on their desk, and then they're gonna translate it onto their paper. So as you can see here, what I've created is sort of a grid for tens and ones, so they can think about organizing it. So they would build this first number. So I need 5 tens and 2 ones. So they'd grab 5 of those rods or sticks and then 2 of the little unit cubes. Okay. Repeat with the 31. So you can see right here we've got our 52, 31. Okay. Now, the magic of it is they're going to count up all their ones. They're going to count up all their tens. And what they're hopefully going to see is that I have 8 tens, 3 ones. So that's the same thing as 83. You might be thinking right now, Jen, that's overkill. Okay. What's going to happen, though, is we want to talk about why it's useful when you're talking about carrying. Okay, so remember that second addition problem that we looked at briefly, quickly, and I added 6 and 9 and got 15, and we're going to carry 1. So why are students going to know to do this? Okay, so first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to start off by still using our chart. And as you can see here, a little bit of a mess, but I start off with 4 tens and 6 ones. So I'm going to draw it over here. And I'm going to use dots so that it can go faster for the ones. Okay, so that's what we start off with, is 46. And then we started off with 2 sticks for 20 and 9 units. Okay. Whew. All right, so what we're going to have students do is count up the number of ones. Okay, when they count up the number of ones, they're going to get 15. 15 ones. Well, what happens is that we have a rule when we're playing with base 10 blocks. Anytime you get 10 cubes, you trade it for a stick. So 10 cubes will trade to 1 stick, 1 rod, or a 10. So what's happening is we'd have our students, so that's what you're seeing circled here, is that we're circling the 9 cubes down here and 1 more for 10. And then we're trading it for us. So what our students would actually do on their desk is take 10 of those cubes, they'd count all those 10 cubes out, and they would trade it for a stick. This could be a great thing to work with partners, table partners, because you could have one student counting, another making the trade, all that good stuff. Okay, now, The reason why this is cool is they're going to start getting into that idea of, oh, if I have 10 or more, I'm going to trade and carry. Okay. So then when they go to that standard algorithm, they'll understand of, oh, when I have 15, 10 of those are going to carry over, the 5 are going to stay. Okay. So let's try it out. I've got one right here. So you can see I have this little box. This I think would be great to have because if you had a laminated sheet on a student's desks, if it's big enough, you could have them actually put their sticks and units, cubes on there. Or you could just have this be something they use with a dry erase marker. But here we go. So we're going to start off with 38. And again, I'm just going to use dots so it goes a little bit faster. Okay, so this is 38, right? And then the other one is 56. So I need 5 10s and 6 dots. Now, some of you right now might be thinking, Jen, I was taught to put the bigger, so like, why wouldn't it be 56 on top and 38 on the bottom? Okay, addition is commutative, meaning the order doesn't matter. So you could have students practice it both ways, practicing the 38 on top or the 56 on top. And they're gonna notice that you're gonna get the same answer either way. So we're good to go. Okay, now we're gonna have our students count up the ones and hopefully they're gonna count out that they have 14. So they count out that 14, which means that we have 10 to trade. Okay, now on their desk, they're just going to take those 10, trade it for a stick and call it good. So that we can see it, we want them to circle 10. So they could circle the top 8 and 2 more. They could circle the bottom 6 and 4 from the top. As long as they're grabbing 10, I don't care where they take it from. So maybe they decide to take all 8 here and these 2, and I'm going to go like this to show that it's carrying. You could even have them go a step further and cross it off so that they know that those disappeared, but these are the ones that remain. So if we count, we'll see that we have 4 remain, and then if I count up all my sticks now, I had 5 sticks, 3 more sticks, 1 more stick, so it looks like I have 9 sticks total. The answer here is 94. Okay, now if you're thinking ahead and you're thinking, whoa, Jen, what if I have 10 or more sticks? Then you could use the flat blocks, which are hundreds. So this is scalable up. We can totally scale it up. Now, before I go to subtraction, I just want to talk for a second about the fact that you can have students just practice modeling this first on their desk. You could have them then translate it to a visual representation on their paper. And then hopefully they're going to get to that standard algorithm where they're going to go, oh yeah, I had 14. So that 4 is here. This is my stick that's carrying over. And then I'd add up all those sticks. So that aha moment is the trade of 10 units blocks for 1 rod or stick. Subtracting with base 10 blocks. You can probably tell I love base 10 blocks. Subtracting is a little messier to show on your paper. So what I'll say is base 10 blocks for subtracting on your desk, physically touching these helps for sure. You're going to see in just a second, it gets kind of disgusting. In fact, you could kind of see that this is kind of where we start, and this is what it ends up looking like on our paper. It's kind of crazy pink. So what's going on is that for addition, if I go back a screen, for addition, we've got this page that helps. For subtraction, this page really doesn't help that much because the idea is we have one pile we're taking away from. So what I would do is start my students with the top number and say, can you build 86 using our base 10 blocks? So as you can see, I've got my 8 sticks, my 6 little units cubes. We got 86. So that part's easy. Now the subtraction, what we're doing is we're going to take away from this pile. So imagine this is our desk. And we're asking students now that I'd like you to take away 24. So they're going to go, okay, I need to take away 2 sticks and 4 blocks. So if this is their desk, they're just going to take these away, take these away. So what they'll see is that I have 6 sticks and 2 cubes left, for 62. Okay, now again, writing that on paper though looks like a hot mess. So this might might be, so here's the good news. For second grade, if you've already been practicing addition for a long time, then maybe for subtraction, they're going to be quicker in having that aha moment. And so maybe they just play with the blocks and then they move straight to the standard algorithm. Okay. If you do, though, have some slower, I don't want to say slower, but people that need to take a little bit longer for those ideas to seep in, let me show you how it works. Okay. So we're going to talk about why this is helpful. We're going to look at borrowing. So how we do subtraction with base 10 blocks is you start with one pile and you take away from. Okay. So here we go. We're going to start with our first pile of 75. And you can see it right here. I've got those 7, 6, 5 little units cubes. Okay. And now we're going to ask the students, okay, how many we're going to take away? And they're going to tell me that they're going to take away 39. So they're going to take away 3, 6, and 9 cubes. And what they're going to have that aha moment is they're going to go, Miss Jen, there's not enough to take away 9. What do I do? So remember for subtraction, you probably are having this moment too. We've been taught, right, to take that 7, we cross it off, I write a 6, and then this is now a 15. It's called borrowing. Why? Why do we borrow? Okay. Well, that's what the base 10 blocks are going to help the students realize why we borrow. So right now they have 5. It's not enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to trade 1 stick. So on their desk, they're going to take one of those 7 sticks, any one, and they're going to work with their table partner, and they're going to trade that 1 stick for 10 cubes, 10 of these little tiny cubes. Okay, and you can see that I wrote it right here. The students are going to take that 1 stick and they're going to trade for 10 cubes. So that stick is gone. We now only have 6. And now if they count, they're going to see that they had the original 5 and 10 more. I want you to come over here. Remember our borrowing? We now have 6 sticks. So that 7 became a 6. And we now have 15 instead of 5. So this is showing that trade of I didn't have enough. We had to trade 1 of these for 10 of these. Once you make that trade, we can now take away. So now we can go ahead, as you can see right here, we can take away. So students are going to come in, they're working in table partners. They're going to take 9 away, 9 of those little cubes, and they're going to take 3 sticks away. So you can see here, I X'd out 3 sticks and 9 cubes, and we're going to see what's left on their desk is 3 sticks and 6. All right, what I want to do is I want to show you another example. I'm going to start it from start to finish. So let me go ahead and show you that other one that we're going to practice. Right now, on the fly, I'm going to make it. All right, so I had to switch modes for a second. We're going to make up a problem. So let's say we want to do one more borrowing problem because I want you to visualize how you're going to teach your students to do this. So let's just go with let's say 43. And let's say that I want to subtract, let's see, we'll take away, how about 17? Okay, so the idea here is that the top number for subtraction is what you are going to build on your pile of sticks. So I'm going to have students go ahead and they're going to grab 43. So they're going to grab 4 of those rods and 3 of those little cubes, or you can draw dots or circles or whatever it is. But again, these guys is what we're talking about. Okay, now we ask our students, how many do you want to take away? They're going to be like, great, I can do this. We need to take away 17. So I need to take away 1 stick, so 110, and I need to take away 7 of those little cubes. Okay, they come over here and they go, oh, I don't have it. Okay, so at this moment when they don't have it is when they trade. And how they trade is they're going to have their partner take 1 of these sticks. So that 1 stick is gone, and it's going to trade for 10. Okay, now, before we start taking away now, what we've just done is we've made this into 3 sticks, and we made it into 13. So what I'm doing with those base 10 blocks is showing them borrowing. Okay, now we could take away. So I now need to take away 7. Doesn't matter, as long as you're counting and taking away 7. So there I took away 7, so this is how many I have left. I'm gonna have 6 left. And then I've got to take away 110. So I have 2 left. 26. Done, you make it look so easy. I've had a lot of practice, guys. a lot of practice. But feel free and play with it and see what works for you and your students, right? We want them to have an aha moment. All right, let's go back to the rest of my slides. There's only, I think, one or two more, and we'll finish this video. All right, so the first thought is subtraction looks a lot harder than addition. Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to say. I think you'll notice with second graders that seem to just roll with it with carrying and adding, subtraction can really throw them for a loop. Well, so the borrowing concept is a tough one for some second graders. Some have no issue. Okay. The other thing, sorry, as I breathe in deeply, the other thing is that you might just have the students play on their desk with the blocks, but never actually try to represent it on their paper, and instead just go straight to the algorithm. So this could be just a teaching tool for how to carry versus trying to visualize it. Because as you can see here, it can kind of look like a hot mess all at once. Okay. The whole point of these blocks is to just make that connection. We want students to have that aha moment and go, oh, this is why I'm doing it. And maybe you're having the same aha moment. Maybe you've done it for your whole life and you don't even know why. Well, now you do. Okay, that's it. Can you believe it? So I'm going to teach you one more method for adding and subtracting. So if you're not feeling like Base-10 blocks is your only method, or if you want to just have options, I'm going to show you another method for two-digit addition and subtraction, which is called the empty number list. So keep an eye out for that one. Good luck. I hope it goes well for you. And there's some other additional Base-10 block videos that are older that you're welcome to check out, which will show you, I actually model this on a board so you can see me playing with the blocks and making a trade. So until then, have a great day. Keep at it. And I hope that you're having fun learning math with me. Bye-bye.